y'all, this is Port 1119 with Head Frame Hunters. So I just you probably just watched a clip of me running the engine on this little EIMCO. So she's back from the gold mine rental and just about paid for herself, and we're having one little issue. So this is a oil bypass filter. It's a secondary oil filter for a fine clean. I believe it's in parallel to the primary oil filter. So just for real fine clean and dusty mine environments. And we're having an issue with this with it leaking right around that washer. Well, I was wondering if there was an O-ring that had gone bad, because this machine's 1984. It's 36 years old. It's older than I am. So I opened up the bypass filter housing. A whole bunch of oil came out, and I looked down inside, and there was a little rubber washer. I think somebody who'd worked on it previously had put that rubber washer in, and it was inside of the cover, as opposed to between the filter cover and the steel washer there. So when I placed it in between the filter cover and the steel washer, and ran it for about 15 minutes, that's all of the oil leakage that we got. You can see that's not really anything. And there's a little bit that was in there from when I worked on it. So that's one problem solved. So it is now tomorrow, or the day after the first clip. And just did an oil change on the buggy. Takes about 10 quarts of 15W40, because Deutz claims their engines are air cooled. If you ask me, they're oil cooled. Let me pop open the ductwork here to see the blower. That's an oil cooler right there. So it's an oil-cooled engine. And getting ready to do the hydraulic. Just gonna drain from the filter right there. I think it's a Napa 1551 or something like that. So yeah, I'm gonna drain it, and then here's your little hydraulic tank. It's like the size of a canteen, or a jerry can. Like these, the hydraulic system on this machine is not very big. It's only got 3 cylinders. It's got the 2 dump cylinders and then the steering cylinder. So I'll switch back once I get that done. And we got a mission for the buggy today. Got the hydraulic draining out. I just had to crack the filter and let it drain through the funnel, because there's that cross member for the, C-channel cross member for the frame directly under it, so I can't just drain directly into my my bucket, and don't want to overflow my funnel and spill more than I already have. It's just gonna take a little bit of time. Alright, old oil's been drained. It's maybe a gallon and a half. Got a new hydraulic filter in, and I'm just gonna come up there and fill her up. Looks like it takes maybe a gallon and a half of fluid. So I'm now sitting inside the 911. You really got to pull the seat to get to the fuel pump end of the engine. What I'm doing is just cleaning off the cylinder fins. I'm mostly done. There was a decent bit of mud and shotcrete caked to them. So Deutz numbers the cylinders from the blower end. That's the blower right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's your oil cooler. And then getting on the 911 specific anatomy. That right there is your hydraulic pump. So the motor's coupled directly to the hydraulic pump. Then here's your throttle linkage. Runs to the fuel pump. Here's your kill cable. So the kill cable is on. I just deactivated it. So that's the fuel pump shut off. You want to have a shutdown solenoid. Here's your fuel lines, your fuel filter. I'm actually sitting on top of the rear differential, or kneeling, and it's not especially comfortable, if I'm being brutally honest here. Then that right there is the hydraulic cooler. So your air comes in this way over the cylinder fins, over the oil cooler, and is then forced through the hydraulic cooler. I was talking about removing the seat, and this is what I'm talking about. So the seat rides on a shock absorber on the rear frame trunnion and locks in place with these little hinge pins. I haven't locked it in place yet. There's 3 of them, so it actually has an adjustable seat. You got, like, I don't know, 4 inches of adjustment. Pretty handy. And when you're roading it and you go over bumps, what happens is the seat is free floated on that shock absorber, and it can bounce up and down a little bit, take the jar out of the impact, and it just pivots on those pins. I roaded it like 5 miles a couple weeks ago, and it really was not unpleasant at all. This is a 1984 model. Got that talk to the descendant of EIMCO, which is Sandvik, that got bought out in like 2002. Talked to a guy at Sandvik, gave him a serial number, got a manufacturing date. This thing dates back to the Reagan administration. I think I'm gonna wrap up this little video here. I was just messing around, loading out the buggy with the 911B out of a pile of fill. This buggy's rated at 5 tons, and I think I've probably got 3 or 4 in there. And with the decline that I expect it's going to be in service at, loading it a little bit light is not necessarily a bad thing. I think it averages out to about a 20% decline, which is kind of on the steep side. As a result, loading it light might help keep the transmission temperature lower, extend the life of that component. And I think I'm gonna, one of these days, open up the fuel lift pump on the 911. It seems like it's losing RPM a little bit too quick when digging, and there's supposed to be a strainer in the fuel pump for those Deutz diesels that I can open that up, clear out the strainer, and might have a slight restriction in there that could be causing it to not be receiving as much fuel as necessary. But hope y'all enjoyed watching me tinker with this equipment. This has been 401119 with Head Frame Hunters. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Adios.